I'm digging deep, and the thing that keeps coming to mind is Michael Phelps smoking a bong is the one that keeps coming to mind for me.
That's different.
Michael Johnson and Donovan Bailey comes to mind. That's
Well,
early
Michael
90s.
Johnson, so that's a good example because this is post. So he ran in those gold Nike sneakers, right? So right?
Right?
And he won in the gold Nike sneakers, you remember? And
200 meter?
he won the 200 and the 100, right?
No, Donovan Bailey won the 100. That's
Okay,
right.
the 200 and the 400. He won two.
I don't remember. I'm not American.
Okay, fine. I don't remember either, but he won two races and it was sort of an unusual combo. And he ran in these gold Nikes that were kind of amazing. He was sponsored by Nike. He was making money off of his endorsement with Nike while training as an adult person to train and win in the Olympics. Like, otherwise, what are you supposed to do? Go to your like temp job for 8 hours and then train? Like, how are you supposed to support yourself? These are adults. So the whole rule, I think, was stupid. And weird, and like, how does that corrupt the sport just because an adult is permitted to make a living off of their accomplishments in the sport? So that rule, that changed. I don't remember when, but it changed. And it's not been corrupted. There is corruption in the Olympic movement that is usually from the USOPC, the Olympic Committee, and the International Olympic Committee. That's where the corruption comes from, usually not the athletes. So pay them is what I say.
Donovan Bailey, Michael Johnson got together in the Skydome in Toronto, 100 meter and the 200 meter winners, to run for 150 meters, and Donovan Bailey was beating him, and Michael Johnson pulled up Jennifer.
Is this real?
You know it. Yes. He pulled up, he faked a hamstring injury, we all know it, and then Donovan Bailey called him a wimp afterwards.
Wow.
Fact. History. Canadian history.
He won 200 and 400.
What about... No, that'll take way too long. I was going to talk about... Who was the guy, Carl Lewis, when they were all on a lot of steroids?
Can I just tell you, so Carl Lewis is from... You're going way back. Your listeners do not know who Carl Lewis is, or his sister, Carol.
I was barely alive anyways, it's fine. If you're a sports fan, you know.
Okay, he was a long jumper. He probably did other events, but he was sort of known for long jump. And he was from the town where I trained in New Jersey, Willingboro, New Jersey. His dad was the track coach at his high school and used to come to our gym and,
a lot of
train
Italians
us.
There, or?
What's that?
A lot of Italians? A lot of good subs and pizzas?
Oh, yeah. Steak sandwiches, hoagies. We call them hoagies in Jersey. But he would come to our gym to try to teach us to run faster, and he really did not love me because I was not a very fast person. Anyway, what about Carl Lewis?
I was just saying how there was a Canadian thing with that too, because Carl Lewis ended up getting the gold, I think, because Ben Johnson was caught for steroids, but they were all on lots of steroids, and there's a documentary about that. And then, if we want to go even deeper, Ben Johnson, the Canadian guy, my dad said he owed him like $3,000 for working on his house, and he never paid. Allegedly, but that's what my dad said.
There was a lot of doping and drugs in the 80s, a ton, which is when Carl Lewis was running and winning. There was a ton. The Russian athletes, the East German athletes, the swimmers, the East German gymnasts and Russian gymnasts. There was a ton of, that was like just straight up steroids. That was sort of before the blood doping craze.
That's crazy too when you actually learn about what they were doing, the cyclists. It blew my mind when I first read about it. First, you hear it and you just think, oh, he was on steroids. But no, like measuring the lactic acid and stuff in your leg muscle.
Well, so I have one fun story about this. Then I really am going to go. So there was a doctor. He was our doctor in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where I trained as a gymnast. Dr. Dixon. He's no longer alive. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is like a podunk town in Pennsylvania, there was a great gymnastics training center, but they also had the velodrome for cycling. And so Dr. Dixon was also the doctor for the U.S. cycling team at the time. And he first came up with this idea of blood doping. Very ethical doctor who also would come to my gym and shoot me up with cortisone as a minor all the time with no parental consent. So he came up with this idea of doping because it was undetectable. They're just putting more blood so you can oxygenate more, and have more endurance, essentially. That's the very rudimentary and like dumb person's explanation of what it is, but it was not detectable in the system because it's not a foreign substance. It's not a drug. It's not anabolic steroids. It's just more blood.
See, this
Creepy.
This is even more in depth than I knew. We're gonna have to do a steroid podcast in a couple months or whatever. But I'll come with my list of questions, my list of people who are my favorite steroid users, most likely baseball and UFC fighters.
Barry
Bonds.
Bonds.
Answer for them. Wow, Barry Bonds, really? You think Barry Bonds was on something?
Can you do me a favor if we do that? Can you send me some questions ahead of time so I can be a little... No?
No, I can't do that. I mean,
I don't know anything about baseball.
It's about the drugs, really. But yeah,
well, they're bad.
I'll just send you the list of names. On a de-escalating scale of skull sizes, we'll go like Barry Bonds, The Rock. I don't know who else is a large skull. Mark McGuire.